Hey again, welcome back to the first bonus speed paint for day 6 of Firestar. The scene that my sister Rachel is going to be drawing today is of Cinderpaw's accident on the Thunderpath. I'll read this scene to you now. It's on pages 174 through 178 of Fire and Ice. Fireheart realized he could still smell Cinderpaw's excited scent in the gorse tunnel. He sniffed the ground around him. Had Cinderpaw left camp even after he warned her about the Shadow Clan warriors? Fireheart dashed to the apprentice's den and stuck his head inside. Brackenpaw was alone, sleeping. "Where's Cinderpaw?" Fireheart mewed. Brackenpaw lifted his head sleepily. What? "Cinderpaw! Where is she?" "I don't know," answered Brackenpaw, confused. Fireheart withdrew his head and looked around the clearing. Frostfur was pacing outside Bluestar's den, her coat ruffled with agitation. Fireheart wondered what to do. He didn't have time to find Cinderpaw himself. He didn't want to tell the other warriors that she was missing. Graystripe, he thought suddenly. Graystripe could look for her while he went to find Tigerclaw. Fireheart hurried to the warrior's den and slipped inside. Graystripe's nest was empty. A flash of anger shot through Fireheart. Where was his friend when he needed him? As if he couldn't guess. Fireheart snorted crossly. Cinderpaw would have to fend for herself until he found Tigerclaw and told him Bluestar was sick. Fireheart raced back through the gorse tunnel and began the journey to the Thunderpath. As he followed the trail up the side of the ravine into the woods, he was aware that Cinderpaw's scent hung in the air. She must have come this way. Of course. She had gone to meet Tigerclaw herself. The fur on Fireheart's spine prickled with worry and frustration. How could she be so foolish? He skirted Snake Rocks. Fireheart began to smell Thunderpath and hear the roar of its monsters. Suddenly, a shrill, high-pitched squeal sounded from the edge of the trees. Fireheart felt the blood run cold in his veins. It was the same cry that he had heard in his dream. He raced out of the trees and skidded to a halt on the grass border beside the Thunderpath. He looked desperately up and down the verge and spotted an ash tree, charred by lightning. That must be the place where Dustpaw had said Tigerclaw wanted to meet Bluestar. But the deputy was still some way in the distance, padding calmly towards the ash. Fireheart broke into a run. The verge was very narrow here, scarcely room for a rabbit, but Fireheart kept going. He called out to Tigerclaw as he ran. "Did you hear that cry?" But the roar of an approaching monster drowned out his words. Fireheart shuddered as it passed, waiting for the noise to die away so he could call out again to Tigerclaw. Then he noticed something beside the ash, a dark shape on a thin strip of grass. With a sickening jolt, he recognized the small body lying motionless beside the Thunderpath. It was Cinderpaw. Fireheart stared in horror. Ahead of him, Tigerclaw had reached the limp body and stood looking down at it, his massive shoulders rigid with shock. Fireheart forced himself nearer. Tentatively, he stretched his head forward and sniffed Cinderpaw's flank. She smelled of Thunderpath. One of her hind legs was twisted and glistening with blood. Fireheart was trembling so much that he could hardly stand, and he saw her side moving. She was still breathing. Speechless with relief, he looked up at Tigerclaw. "She's alive," the deputy growled, and then fixed his amber stare on Fireheart. "What was she doing here?" "She came to find you," Fireheart whispered. "You meant you sent her here?" Fireheart's eyes widened with surprise. Did Tigerclaw think he would be so stupid? "I told her to stay in camp," he protested. "She came here herself, because I couldn't make her listen to me," he realized with dismay. Tigerclaw snorted. "We must get her home." He bent down with his mouth open, reaching for the small, crumpled body. But Fireheart dipped his head down and picked up the apprentice by her scruff before Tigerclaw could touch her. He began to drag Cinderpaw into the woods as gently as he could, her body hanging limply between his front paws. So basically, Cinderpaw ran right into a trap that Tigerclaw had set up to kill Bluestar. Bluestar was too sick with green cough to leave the camp, and Fireheart was busy collecting catmint to help fight off the green cough, so he wasn't ready to leave right away. So Cinderpaw offers to go in his place, to go and get the message. But Fireheart tells her not to go. But she doesn't listen to him, and gets terribly injured. I suppose the surprise on the Thunderpath could have actually killed a larger cat such as Fireheart, so it's better for Fireheart that he didn't go. But he still feels awful for his apprentice being crippled, and for her not being able to become a warrior. I'd love to hear in the comment section down below how you think things would have turned out differently if Fireheart had been the one to fall upon the trap. Could it have killed him? Or do you think because he was warier of Tigerclaw that he would have seen it coming and been more cautious? Let me know what you think down below. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. Make sure to go and check out the video over on the side of my last speed paint, and click that subscribe button so you can always be notified when I make my next video. Alright guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'll see you soon with the next speed paint. Bye-bye!